Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So someone reached out to me and asked, can I do an update on a 2011 Jeep Patriot? And do I have the same opinion as I did 2 years ago when I made a video when they had 146,000 miles on it? Well, now it has 165,000 miles on it. So, quick update. It's still running. It's still a daily driver. Wife still drive the mess out of it. We still trying to maintain the maintenance on it, especially the outside. You can see the outside is pretty nice looking, considering that we are living in Michigan. However, these headlights are fogging up. I did get an estimate for these, so we're gonna get those cleaned up soon. Of course, we got bug chicks, rock chicks from being on the freeway, when driving back and forth 50 miles or whatever. Other than that, still looks good. Paint's still in good condition, as you can see. I mean, this is a black vehicle. You know, black cars are the most unforgiving color, I should say. The moment you wash it, a speck of dust get on it, and it's pretty much all dirty again. The interior is holding up pretty real. Just need to be vacuumed out. I'm quite surprised how well the interior has held up over all these years. I mean, we had some really hot summers in Michigan, and so far there are no cracks in the dashboard. Door panel still looking good. Of course, the seats has its normal wear. A little spill there, that's gonna be cleaned up. I had some people who asked me, well, gas being $5 a gallon, how much does it cost to fill up? I'm gonna say about $55 at the most. With gas being $5 a gallon, that's actually not bad at all, considering that we can go a long distance with this on the full tank of gas, and it's like, it doesn't bother us at all. It's actually one of the best gas savers we ever own, next to the Focus we have. But of course, that was from when it being on E. It cost $55 to fill up. So, again, if y'all got a smaller car and it's a 4-cylinder, may not be the fastest, hold on to it. Just like this Jeep here, it's paid off. We've been holding on to this thing for a while. We actually thought about getting rid of it. I had some few people commented on one of the last videos and said, don't do it, just hold on to it. I had some people say don't get a Wrangler, because we thought about getting a Wrangler, and at first we were going to trade this in, but we said no, we're going to hold on to it because there's really nothing wrong with it. So might as well hold on to this, keep this as a second vehicle, and then we'll worry about the Wrangler later. Of course, we got a broken antenna. Somebody decided to break off the custom antenna off of here. Working on getting that fixed. Also, we just recently replaced rotors, as you can see. And we're running ceramic pads. Considering that this is driven a lot, lasts us about 4.5 years, I should say. Besides the headlights fading a little bit, there's really no rust. Considering that this is a Michigan vehicle. Of course, look what's going on right here. So, maintenance wise, with a truck like this that's paid off, how much the maintenance costs? Well, so far, only maintenance we had to do this year so far was oil change. We used synthetic oil, so we don't have to change the oil quite as much, but we use synthetic oil because, again, we drive this thing for long distances at the time. We did have a check engine light that came on, and that went off on its own. It seemed like it only comes on when it's 20 degrees outside. Something to do with the catalyst sensor, so we still looking into that. But other than that, to sum it up and make it short, I think it's reliable, it's basic transportation. It's not the Limited, so we don't have all the luxury options that the Limited has or the Limited X. But with the price of cars going up, average used car price is like $55,000 with more usual than miles that you want on it. You know, I figured you might as well just hold on to your car that you got now if it's paid off. Save yourself the headache, save yourself the car notes. Who wants to pay $500 and something a month for a used car? Now, as I said before, black is a very, very unforgiving color. I mean, this thing was just washed and look how dusty it got. But it still looks good. It still looks good. Mostly hand washed this, which is why the paint looks so great. You know, you go to a car wash with brushes all the time, you're gonna have a bunch of swirl marks. So just by looking at it at this angle, does this look like it's got 165,000 miles on it? The 4x4 still works great, no issues with it. We did have a rough winter and we survived through the winter. We take a look in the back, it's a little junky. This is dirty from where my son sits at. But what I like about this plastic is it's real easy to just wipe off. So you can get some soap and water or just get some Armor. All that stuff just comes right off. So it's easy to clean, real easy to clean. Yeah, so if you're in the market for a used vehicle, you want to buy a Jeep but don't want to spend 60 grand on a new one or 55 for a used one, I'd say this is a decent vehicle. Now again, it's not the fastest vehicle in the world. I mean, it is a 2.4, 170 horsepower or 172 horsepower four-cylinder. It's not the fastest in the world, but it moves out of its own way. I think it's decent for this size. So I actually looked this up on Kelly Blue Book, and it gained this value over time because the used car market it's just going up like crazy. So it's actually worth more now than it was 3 years ago when we paid it off. I know some people in the comments are gonna be like, oh, you should sell it and get some money off of it. We could, but we're gonna hold on to it for a while and want to see if we can get maybe 200,000 miles out of it. Had some fun with it. It is paid off, so why not? So I'm gonna wrap this video up. In my opinion, we own this thing for how many years now? Major issues we had with this is crankshaft position sensor, where that sensor will go out and then it cause your stuff to stall out, which is an easy fix. That's the only major issue we had with this. We had no problems with the CVT transmission. We did change the fluid out of it, which is probably why it lasted us a little bit longer, because I know there are complaints around all over YouTube that the transmission is horrible. Well, I kind of agree. I don't really like the CVT transmission myself because it doesn't shift. It did take us some time getting used to it because me and my wife, we were used to cars that shifted. But over time, you tend to get used to it. It tends to become second nature. You don't think about it no more. Now, people say it's noisy. Well, the only thing you hear more is the engine revving on takeoff, and it's really not that bad. It's not as loud as people think. You can barely tell that it's revving. You literally have to have the radio off and just listen to hear it. But I think it's a reliable vehicle from my perspective. And you know, for this being the year 2022, you know, everything is still intact. The panel, everything's still good. And you know, this is Michigan. We've been putting this thing through its paces. We hit some potholes and stuff like that. Believe it or not, it still has the original shocks from the factory. And recently we had the shocks looked at and they said there was nothing wrong with them, surprisingly. So I find it hard to believe, but yeah, but for what it is, I think it's reliable. It is a Dodge Caliber frame, but I think this is much better than a Dodge Caliber. I mean, we could sit here and stare at it all day, but My opinion, I think it's still reliable. Just got to keep up on the maintenance on it, the oil changes. You know, if you haven't flushed out your CVT transmission yet, and if you got a 2011 year all the way up, you got some miles on it, you might want to consider doing that. Refreshed it, transmission issues and all of that. So far, and this being the 2011 model, we didn't have no issues with the transmission whatsoever. We didn't have no issues with it overheating, things of that nature. So I think it's reliable. If you're a speed enthusiast, this is not the fastest vehicle in the world. It is what it is. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not the fastest. It just is for what it is. So at the end of this video, thank you guys for watching. See you soon.